check our website at batvja.com.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Since 1999, the Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run has been contributing millions of dollars to the health and welfare of Jamaican children. The event has become the largest 5K in the Caribbean, and thousands of people converge in New Kingston to participate in this event. Business Access TV is here, and I'm Javon Keys, and my co-host Jamila Maitland will join us a little later on. As you can tell, the sun is already out and the race is already underway.
What was the extent of planning that went into executing an event like this?
We've been planning Sigma for about a year now. The last 3 weeks are probably the most hectic of all. But, you know, we have over 300 volunteers that contribute to the success of this, including our sponsors. The group marketing department is the engine behind Sigma Run, and I mean, it's the hardest job we do all year, but it's the most rewarding as well. As you can imagine, there are several lists of persons who are in need, and basically the Sagicor Foundation board eventually makes the ultimate decision, but the decision is made mostly on the need of each of the beneficiaries, who has the greatest need. We tend to focus a lot on health and the health of children for the Sigma Run. So over the years, we've supported lots of neonatal units, a lot of companies or hospitals that support children as well. So that is a major part of the decision making when it comes to choosing the beneficiaries, but the ultimate decision is made by the board of the Sagicor Foundation. Dearest to our heart, I think, this year is the Lupus Foundation. Our Startline MC died from lupus, and so we felt that the Lupus Foundation would have been a good beneficiary to have this year. The Diabetes Foundation is also one of our beneficiaries. We don't pay a lot of attention to diabetes in Jamaica, so we decided that they would be also a good option, you know, for us to support. They need the support, they need some backing, and the Maypen Hospital neonatal unit, we have been there, we visit the hospitals, and we have seen I wouldn't call it deplorable, but there is great need in our public health system. And so I think, you know, those are all very deserving charities this year, and Sagicor is happy to stand behind them. I think we did a pretty good execution. We had a clean execution. I can't complain. There is no way to avoid the hours. We try our best. I mean, every year we try to do something a little different, set up the start line a little earlier, you know. But we have a lot of support. We have a lot of support from our sponsors. We have a lot of support from the technical people around us. I think we did a pretty smooth, not perfectly flawless, but we did a very good execution. We're proud of what we did. We're happy it's over. 27,000 people registered here, the most in the history of Sigma, and we've also raised the most we've ever raised, 52 odd million for our charities. So we're pleased. We think we did a good job. You can still donate. You can visit the Sagicor Sigma Run website, or you can call the Sagicor Foundation 1-888-SAGICOR and ask how you can donate. That is the number for our contact care center. They will put you onto the Sagicor Foundation, and you can still make a donation after today.
So with me now is one of the celebrity faces for the Sigma Corporate Run, Mr. Johan Blake. How are you, sir?
I'm feeling good this morning.
So share with us, why did you choose to contribute to the Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run?
You know, the first time I contributed, Sagicor made the highest money, and they know that I have good luck, so they brought me back. And I'm here not just because of that, but to save life. It's a great cause for me to walk with Sagicor on this long journey.
So what would you say to other persons who may be thinking about contributing?
I said, don't think, just act.
Thanks for staying tuned to BATV's coverage of the Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run 2019, the largest 5K in the Caribbean. Stay tuned for more happenings.
You're
your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. Wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
We're here with Dayton Lawton, who was one of the very first contestants to finish the race. What was your perception going into the race?
Well, I do this race every year, and I'm always happy to do it. I think Sagicor has done a great job growing the race every year. It's 27,000 contestants ran this year. The management was great, and I felt good running this race today. Chris and the CEOs of Sagicor in the past have always been very astute about what they're doing with the money. So it's not just giving to a cause and you don't find out how these funds are actually being utilized. You shared a story about going to the hospital and giving them ventilation machines for infants. And it's always very important to understand how your money is benefiting the community.
What would you say to somebody who probably missed this year's Sagicor?
If you missed it and you can't be here, I would say still contribute. You don't necessarily need to run, but if you have an opportunity to give towards a cause.
So how was the race?
Apart from the bobbing and weaving, it was absolutely wonderful. You can see we're out of breath.
So tell us, why was it important for you and your team to come out to support the Sigma Corporate Run?
It's a part of our corporate social responsibility. We believe in giving back. We sell gas and we rely on the public to support our business, and we believe in giving back. So we thought this was a worthy cause to do that.
Well, this is my 5th time doing Sigma, and I didn't really train, but it was okay. Yeah, started Jamaica.
And you? I started Jamaica. It was fun, and even though it's my first time, I enjoyed it a lot.
The run was wonderful. It's my once-a-year exercise, and I've been doing this for the past 5 years. I think it was good, so that's it for my exercise for the year.
It's my first time, and it's a really great experience. You know, I'm a track and field athlete, so I'm just preparing for a wonderful season.
Of course, adults are not the only persons who participate in Sagicor's Sigma Corporate Run. We also have the children. Could you tell Mosquito, what do you think about the race?
I think it was long and it was very tiring, but I managed to finish.
You're here with your siblings. What do they think of the race?
Well, it was tiring. I do track and field, but this was really exhausting and my legs hurt now. So.
Nice. So what was your position in the race? Do you know?
Well, the race was all right. But I gave up a few times, but I still made it.
Nice. Thank you.
Guys, you're representing the Jamaicans for Justice. How was the race for you?
You know, it was all right. A bit disappointed this year, but you know, next year we're coming back bigger and better. Time of about 37, not feeling too happy about that, but you know, still good.
How about you?
Well, it was good, but I was expecting sub 30, but 33, 42 could have been better though.
Of course, other than the fact that we're supporting the hospital project, I have to be running today because we're running for a cause. We all ran for justice today. And of course, I know my time is going to be very impressive. It's below 30. I'm not quite sure what the time is just for. But of course, we came out and we ran for justice, and I'm very pleased for that today.
So the Lupus Foundation will be one of the beneficiaries of the Sagicor Sigma Run this year.
It's awesome. Like every year they go for something different. And this year we're doing this for Elvar. We're doing this for the people who lost the fight and who's still going on and still pushing basically.
What do you say to somebody who probably doesn't know much about Sagicor Corporate Run and the beneficiaries and what it is that they're going for? What would you tell somebody?
Even if you don't run, just go ahead. Pay the money, make a donation, buy something. Like my lace, I just went ahead and just bought the shoelace just because.
Tell us what you thought about the race.
So it was a very good race and I really appreciated it. It's always good to run for charity because helping other persons, that's the way to go, And it was a really good race for me. I really did more than what I expected. So it's an awesome one.
Going into the race, what was your perception and what do you think after?
Funnily enough, I thought this was a 5K and at the end I realized it was a 5.5. So at that point I was really beat. But it was an awesome feeling and it's great to be supporting this cause. Big ups to Sagicor. I look forward to the next 5K.
Top running athletes last year, what was your perception coming into the race this year?
Well, I didn't think I was going to make it, honestly, but I decided I really wanted to do it and to do it better. But I thought that this year the race seemed shorter, so I must have got some extra energy, which I don't know where it came from.
The race is more like a fitness for you, or is it something that you normally do every year?
I've done it 3 years. This is my 3rd year, but I do a lot of walking every day.
So did you actually run with the babies on you like this?
About 2.5 Ks. Look what it says here.
Was that Daddy's cardio?
Yeah.
All right, so what do you think about the race?
It was fabulous. The water stops were strategically placed. Everything went well. First time for the babies, about the 5th time for me.
That was a short bit from some of the runners and walkers here at the 2019 Sagicor Sigma Run. Stay with us for more highlights.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On Point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this. No more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
So as you would imagine, a number of groups would have come out to participate in the 2019 Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run. We're about to hear from some of them. All right, so Jay, so what size team you have here today? Did the whole office come out?
Well, approximately 50% of our staff. We have in excess of 30 people here today from JAA.
Great, so why was it important for you guys to come out and support this cause?
Well, for one, JN Group overall has been a long-standing supporter of Sigma and the Jamaica Automobile Union Association. We specialize in mobility and moving people, so we want to ensure that our people are moving as well.
How is this in line with your corporate social responsibility?
Well, we are about giving back, and the cause, the whole Sigma is about giving back, so it falls in line with what we are about.
So with me now is Suzette Morrison. She's the team captain with Wisynco Group. So tell us, why was it important for Wisynco to participate in the Sigma Corporate Run 2019?
Well, the Sigma Corporate Run signifies helping other companies and helping the sick and needy. And Wisynco being the innovators, we always want to ensure that we play our corporate role and a corporate social responsibility to be a part of the good.
So did you run this morning?
No, unfortunately, I was here setting up to ensure that the team was okay, and they came out, 150 strong. We came out and we participated, and they had fun.
This definitely is a worthy cause, and giving back is an important thing for corporate companies such as ourselves. So participation and support for the obvious cause is very important.
Seems like you have a very large team. What's the number?
I think we're over 120 thereabout.
For me, it was a walk in the park.
Very easy, very easy.
How important was it for you to participate in this run?
Well, we do it for a cause, we do it every year, and we think it is extremely relevant at this time.
Plus, it also helps us to remain healthy.
All right, so there you have it from some of our educators representing the JTA here at the Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run 2019. So after having such an early start this morning, Jamila and I were just getting a chance to catch up. So from what I've been seeing, the race has been going very good. There are thousands of people out. It's probably the largest year of Sigma Corporate Run, because for the years I've been seeing it, every year it gets bigger and better, right, Jam?
A little birdie actually told me that it's actually 27,000 persons who registered, and they might have even passed their $52 million mark.
Well, but that's great, because Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run is all about corporate social responsibility and helping to ensure the welfare of our nation's children. So it's always a great cause. Number of companies out, a number of groups, a number of individuals. We saw persons from different ages, from very small to very old, and they're going. So it was a good day, wouldn't you agree?
Of course it was. It really, I can't believe. I think the entire Jamaica is here right now at Emancipation Park.
Certainly, Jam, it was an extraordinary morning. Though we had to wake up very early to be here. It was great, right?
It really was.
All right, so we're going to take a break right now, and then we're going to head to the stage to see our winners for the 2019 Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run. Stay tuned.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up a Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
So, Ms. Walker, tell us, why does Sagicor keep doing this every single year since 1999?
So it has been 21 years that Sagicor Foundation has been solidly behind the charities to really give back. Healthcare is a big thing for our brand, and we always want to find and identify those needs that really have a big impact on Jamaican lives. So this year we've identified the Diabetes Foundation of Jamaica, Lupus Foundation of Jamaica, and also the Mapen Hospital, specifically the neonatal intensive care units.
Have you been seeing the impact of the contributions you've been making?
Oh yes, we have. Certainly over the years we've made so many different contributions to various different sectors in the health area, and also in terms of children. We do support children causes as well. Last year we supported St. Christopher's Home for the Deaf. We supported the Spanish Town Hospital. So we try to touch every single pocket of the Ministry of Health as well, too, because that is a major area that really impacts a lot of Jamaicans' lives on a daily basis.
So, Principal would ask, why focus on children?
I mean, the children are the future. It's cliche, but it's actually real. If we actually focus on our children and we actually focus on the future and making that future so much better, brighter for our children. And we can't be selfish. We always have to continue to pay it forward, and so that we know that Jamaica will be a better place.
So how do you rate 2019 for the Sagicor Sigma Run?
Oh God, 2019 has been amazing. It has been awesome. It has been off the chain. So this year we've broken 2 records. So last year we had a record-breaking 26,000 participants. This year we've got up to 27,000 persons. And also we shattered our record in terms of the target. So our target last year was 50 million. This year it's 52, and we went over a bit, so we did $52,400,000. So we are absolutely proud as a team to be able to give back so much to Jamaica.
Certainly. So what can we expect for 2020?
I mean, we're going to start planning right now, and in true Sagicor strong style, we're going to come bigger, we're going to come better, and we're always going to be looking for that next needy cause. And there's so many causes in Jamaica that need the funding and need the support. So look out for us, we're coming.
Congratulations to the winner, Alfonso Collingham. On the clap upon Alfonso, please.
How does it feel to become the first place winner for the male wheelchairers in the Sagicor Sigma Run this year?
It's a great feeling, but I'm doing Sigma for a couple of years now. So to be, the winner this time around again, it's a wonderful feeling. And I'm happy I'm doing it for, a worthy cause and so forth. So that's why I try to push out the necessary effort to be here.
Put your hands together. Sylvia, we're friends long time. Long time, Sylvia. Congratulations.
You placed first this year and last year, 5 years in a row. So tell me, how does that feel? What level of training or intensity of the training does it feel?
We have a cart where we run, we push it like we and run it in the grass every day.
How important is it for persons to participate in runs like these?
It's good, because when we're out there, people can see us and see that anything they can do, we can do it too.
Describe to us, what's the feeling becoming the first place winner of this year's Sagicor Sigma Run?
It's a great feeling, and this is my second year doing it.
Would you describe to us, what was the run in general? What did you like about it? What you didn't like about it?
I like the fun run part. We have the foam and all those stuff, and the fact that we're supporting charities. So yeah, it was a good run.
What was your time?
19 minutes and 2 seconds.
Male overall, his time, ridiculous. 19 minutes, 32 seconds. Will you clap up, Caroline, please? Hello, hi.
I came 4th overall and 2nd for corporate.
Everybody just give me a
I represent
clap like
Separate Limited. And this is not my first event, but it's a wonderful event. I enjoyed it.
We are here with Odain Davidson, the first place winner in the under 16 category. Tell us, how does it feel?
It is hard, yeah, very hard. And yeah, I get competition in it, and yeah, it was a good race.
Is this your first time doing it, and what's your time?
I don't know my time yet, but it's not the first time I'm doing it.
My name is Anna K. Swaby, and I'm representing Chiselfit, and I came first in the female walk.
How was that for you?
It was, I'm going to be honest with you, it was a bit challenging, but I managed to maneuver the crowd and came first. So it was very good, but challenging.
So clearly this isn't your first time doing a 5K walk, because it takes a particular technique, right?
No, it hasn't been my first 5K, but my first Sigma. And my goal was just come here, come first. That was it.
But separate and apart from you coming to compete, I'm sure there must be another reason why you came here to represent.
Of course, there's another reason. The number one reason, of course, is doing it for the cause. That's the most important thing. So me coming first is just a bonus, right? So just going out there, doing what I can do for those persons who can't do it themselves, and hoping that I inspire somebody else to come on out and support the cause.
So you said this was your first year. Will we see you next year?
Of course.
So I know that this is something that you do. We saw you at the True Juice Orchards last year, and you're here again. How was this one for you?
Well, this one was a record break when walk for me. You know, I'm improving each year, and I really came out here to get the record of 28 minutes. I did it, and I'm very happy. I'm looking for greater things, and I want to see myself out there representing Jamaica internationally. This is my 3rd year winning it also. The first year, 2017, I did 30 minutes. Last year, 29. This year, 28.
So will you be back next year?
Definitely. All things being well.
All right, thank you so much, and congratulations. As much as we didn't get a chance to run, we actually finished the race, right, Jam?
We did.
So that brings us to the end of our 2019 coverage of the Sagicor Sigma Corporate Run. I've been your host, Javon Keys.
And I'm Jamila Maitland.
And you've been tuned into Business Access TV, serious about business.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business
about business.
Before you head out to do your back-to-school shopping, do an inventory to see if you have supplies at home that can still be used. You should also do book exchange and most definitely compare prices. Continue watching the show for more tips from the Consumer Affairs Commission. Hello, I'm Sandra Clark. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine.
More life.
More memories.
More moments. Jamaica Moves is a call to action to prevent non-communicable diseases. Get active, eat healthy. You can protect yourself from high blood pressure, obesity, asthma, certain cancer diseases, and more.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, August 8. Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw has announced an increase in the cocoa price payable to farmers. The price per box will move from $2,600 to $3,000. Minister Shaw made the announcement on Monday during the 67th annual Denby Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show in Mapen, Clarendon.
The price has gone up, but we're not stopping there. We have to grow more. And the same thing with our coffee as well.
He also announced that the current measures being implemented to manage and control the outbreak of the frosty powder rot of cocoa disease would be revamped. This includes placing a stop on the current process of pruning the cocoa plants, which destroys approximately 90% of the tree.
I have ordered it stopped. Stopped. You know why? Because there is technology elsewhere, including Colombia. And since I ordered it stopped, I sent a team to Colombia. They pruned the tree no more than 10%. And they have found a way to control the frosty powder disease.
More work is underway this year to build and expand schools in order to eliminate the shift system and relieve overcrowding.
Already started this year are the following schools that are being attended to. The Cedric Titus High, the Exchange All-Age School, Mushet High, Albert Town High, Old Harbor High, and Friendship Primary.
Minister Carl Samuda, who was giving his sectoral presentation in Parliament recently, said all schools would be removed from the system by 2024. To end the shift system in the remaining 37 schools, he said 13 of them would require expansion, while 10 new high schools and 7 primary schools were needed. In the meantime, government is this year recruiting more special education teachers to meet the growing needs of students with special needs. In addition, $1.2 billion has been allocated to the Special Education Unit, which makes provisions for students with various physical and learning impairments.
The Special Education Unit operates a Braille and large print program which reproduces print material for persons who are blind or visually impaired, which is an enormously important program. Large print services are also available for students who have deficiencies in vision in regular schools.
Students with special needs are educated in the general school setting or in public, grant-aided or independent special education institutions. Support is also given to community-based organizations that offer early intervention and community-based rehabilitation to students with disabilities. The Consumer Affairs Commission is urging persons to be diligent in their back-to-school shopping. Communications specialist at the Commission, Dorothy Campbell, says while going the route of one-stop shopping is convenient, it is not always the best way. She was speaking on JIS's Current Affairs program, Get the Facts, recently.
The first thing that the Consumer Affairs Commission advises parents to do is to shop at home first. So you do your research at home, because going out to shop means that you would have done your comparative shopping. You've already located the best prices, where you're going to buy what.
Ms. Campbell says the Consumer Affairs Commission is currently preparing its annual textbook survey. This includes going through the approved list from the Ministry of Education to ensure it matches book lists that are issued by schools.
Or field officers or survey officers go to the bookstores to verify availability and price. Once we have done that, we then determine the publication. It will be published partially on our website at www.cac.gov.jm, and we are hoping to partner with some publications to ensure that consumers are able to get that. But we say to parents, they can call us.
Improvements to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's offices and facilities are far advanced. The work is being undertaken on several of the ministry's locations to provide greater accessibility and comfort for internal and external clients. It includes the construction of a new office in St. Anne, which is on track for completion in December. Minister of Labour and Social Security Shahini Robinson says drawings for the renovation of the NIS office at 18 Ripon Road has also been finalized, and the contract will be put to tender shortly.
The main offices of the Labour Division of the Ministry is located at 1F North Street. The building was in need of extensive repairs on the exterior. Those repairs are almost completed.
Work is also progressing on the Overseas Employment Center on East Street and a new arm of the Industrial Disputes Tribunal in St. James.
I'm pleased to report that a lease has been signed and the contract for the renovation has also been signed. IDT West will soon become a reality.
Minister Robinson was delivering her sectoral presentation in Parliament recently. And finally, Minister with Responsibility for Gender Affairs, Olivia Grange, says the model of the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation has been successfully studied and replicated in several countries, including Kenya, Guyana, Grenada, and St. Kitts and Nevis. She made the disclosure on Monday during a tour of the facility with First Lady of Kenya, Her Excellency Margaret Kenyatta, and wife of the Governor-General, Lady Allen.
With such an impressive rate of success, the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation has been recognized worldwide as an international best practice. The United Nations Population Fund in 2013 State of the World Population Report praised the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation as a great example of Jamaica offering to the world, and I quote, a model for preventing adolescent pregnancy and supporting young mothers.
First Lady Margaret Kenyatta commended the Women's Center for helping approximately 46,000 teen mothers complete their secondary education.
This institution is indeed a true model for learning and replication. I know that keeping our girls in school directly lowers the rate of maternal mortality. It also protects the girls who are most vulnerable from the new emerging issues of adolescent HIV.
The tour was part of the itinerary of Mrs. Kenyatta, who joined her husband, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, on a 3-day state visit to Jamaica. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
I'm deeply concerned by the number of Jamaicans killed on our roads. Safety on our roads is our responsibility. Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life. and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
Haven't done your back to school shopping yet? The Consumer Affairs Commission has a few suggestions.
So we're in back to school shopping period, you know. Everybody's out now shopping, busy. What are some of the advice? What advice will you give people who are shopping now for school books, for shoes, for all the things you need for your children?
Well, the first thing that the Consumer Affairs Commission advises parents to do is to shop at home first. So you do your research at home, because going out to shop means that you would have done your comparative shopping. You've already located the best prices, where you're going to buy what, because the one-stop shop sounds convenient, but it's not always the best way to go about it. So what we try to do is we offer the annual textbook survey, which is the database comes from the Ministry of Education. It gives us all the approved texts. We then verify those texts in terms of publication, edition, etc. And then we go, we have our field officers, our survey officers go to the bookstores to verify availability and price. Once we have done that, we then determine the publication and we do our analysis. The research department, they're working very hard right now to go through the data to ensure that the books that they have are the books that have been approved, and even the approved list are the matches back to the list that the schools
So edition 15, you have to buy that because edition 14 will be different.
Exactly.
Yes. Where can persons access the textbook survey?
Well, that has not yet been published, but it will be published partially on our website at www.cac.gov.jm, and we are hoping to partner with some publications to ensure that consumers are able to get that. But we say to parents, they can call us and we can access whatever parish, location, bookstore for the prices on their behalf.
Let's move now to buying shoes. When we're buying shoes for the children, we should not go. There are some tips not to go in the evening or what else? Any advice on that?
We normally ask consumers to be wise about shoe shopping, because what happens is that the body functions in a weird kind of way, especially in the summer. And the kids, they're playing their football, they're doing everything, the feet are swollen.
Right.
So they fit differently in the evening than in the morning.
And always take the child with you.
And
it's
always take the child with you, because they do their growth spurts in the summer.
Yes.
So you might think you have a size 6 when you go, it's a size 7. So
to prevent having to return an item, and I talk about is there a returns policy?
There's not a general
return
return
policy. I went to buy something last week, and the person in the store told me I cannot return it. I said, what if I take it so it doesn't work? Can I take it back? She frankly said, she just said no.
Well,
what?
There's no general return policy that we can impose on a vendor. However, if you have bought an item and that item does not function in the manner in which it was, then the CAC will step in and say to that vendor, the consumer has a right.
Yes. Not if you don't like it, if you don't like it again.
No, we don't arbitrarily defend the consumer on just a trivial thing as I don't like the color or I changed my mind or no.
But if it doesn't function.
But if it doesn't function or it's a substandard good. So it takes a matter of reasonableness between the vendor and the consumer. And very often, that's how we get to intervene. And we resolve issues based on just reasoning with the vendor to say, you need your customers.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you for having me.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
Are you one of those persons who refuse a receipt that's been given by the cashier? Well, that's not a good idea, as this piece of paper holds a lot of value.
Serve. Be a pound of flour and a tin of mackerel there. How much that? 120. 120. Respect.
Yeah, my general, see you left a receipt.
John knows them thing there?
Yeah, man.
So, for this. Respect.
The law is clear. Without a receipt, there is no proof of purchase. It doesn't matter the situation or the type of item purchased. A receipt guarantees compensation in the event something goes wrong with your purchase. The Consumer Protection Act, the CPA, speaks specifically to this, the use of receipts during transactions being a duty of the vendor and the consumer. Section 20 of the Act stipulates that the receipt is your legal proof of purchase to be used in arranging a refund where needed.
Shop around, check the products thoroughly before you pay over. Ensure after you've paid that you receive a receipt.
Yes, comparative shopping cannot be overemphasized, especially in tight economic times. Customers have to ensure the quality of the product before hard-earned money is handed over. Otherwise, in some cases, you might as well be flushing those dollars down the drain. And if there is a defect, the justice system or the Consumer Affairs Commission may not be able to help you get assistance of any sort if you do not have a receipt.
We admonish consumers to ensure at all times that you have a footing to stand on if something goes wrong. And that is why we encourage you to get a receipt once you have done any business.
But within the Jamaican shopping context, with street-side deals, corner shops, and other instances of informal selling, the use of a receipt is often abandoned. In those cases, the CAC warns the consumer is pretty much not covered, legally speaking, that is. But there are ways to resolve this.
In cases where a receipt is not available, take your receipt book with you and have the vendor sign the receipt book as a way to protect yourself.
Would you like a receipt?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Wrong move, says the authorities. According to CAC surveys, motorists often opt not to accept or request a receipt because the process is time-consuming. But motorists are implored to request receipts for petrol purchases to facilitate easy resolution if a discrepancy occurs, such as being overcharged.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Total.
Good afternoon. May I get 2090? And may I have a receipt, please?
2019 and a receipt? Sure, no problem.
Here are the legal guidelines that constitute a valid receipt.
And that receipt should bear the name of the provider, the date on which the transaction took place, what was purchased or what service was used, the cost, and the cost attached.
The receipt could also show the vendor's contact information and description of the product, that is, the goods or services being sold. The price can either be written out or printed in numerals. Both are sometimes used in order to avoid ambiguity. And vendors, to protect your business in the event a dispute arises, keep a copy of all receipts and sign receipts if they do not bear the logo of your organization. The receipt can be valid for up to 6 years. So, to get justice in the event of a transaction gone wrong, the next time you pay for goods or services, collect your receipt.
Excess salt in your diet increases blood pressure and contributes to kidney damage, gastric cancer, obesity, osteoporosis, and the worsening of asthma. Aim to have no more than 3 to 6 grams of salt, or half of 1 teaspoon per day. And children under 11 years of age should consume less than this. Get healthy, reduce the salt. A public service message from the Jamaica Information Service and the Ministry of Health.
Up next, measures by the blood bank to ensure the blood donated is safe for transfusion.
As long as man is around to get sick or injured, blood will remain a high-demand substance for health practitioners. But for all its wonderful properties, the life-saving bodily fluid could become a death sentence if not handled properly. For those who need their supplies boosted, health workers cannot simply hook up a needle and feed the red and white cells from another individual straight to the needy bloodstream.
It's not just a simple matter of collecting blood, finding out what the group is, and then passing it on to the recipient. There are lots of other things that go into providing safe blood.
Think of blood like a home. Certain fundamental things like walls, floors, and ceilings are common to all, but the little things you put in over the years and experiences you have within those spaces make each unique to its owner. Like your home, blood can change owners, but you have to make some adjustments to have it meet the needs of the new recipient. That is what the technicians and health workers have to do before blood that is donated can be passed on to someone in need. The first step is to screen the donor to determine their medical history and suitability to donate.
The screening is aimed at 1, protecting the donor, and 2, protecting the potential recipient.
After that, it's a matter of sterilizing the donor's arm and proceeding to draw the blood. From there, the blood is taken to the lab, where it goes through a series of tests. Technicians look for things like blood groupings such as A, B, O, and Rh types, antibodies in the red blood cells, venereal diseases such as syphilis, HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, hepatitis B and C, which affect the liver, and HTLV, human T-cell lymphotropic virus type 1 and 2, a virus that weakens the immune system. At the island's blood bank, the National Blood Transfusion Service, tests such as these are carried out daily. For each unit of blood drawn, 2 sample tubes are also collected. These are referred to as the red and purple top. For accuracy, data on the tubes must correspond with the main bag. The purple top sample is used to screen for antibodies and blood groupings. Blood grouping is just as important as the infectious screening. This ensures compatibility for the recipients, that is, people of the same blood group receiving the same blood type.
We do our ABO grouping here at the blood bank using the Diamed system. This technology is a gel system. It has microtubules, otherwise we call it as wells, and it has our antisera already in these wells.
A drop of the donor blood is placed into each of these wells. It is incubated and put in a machine that spins the substance at a high speed. After this process, a reading is given.
This is an example of a blood group. We can read it macroscopically. This is reading O negative based on the cells that are seen here.
In VDRL testing, which checks for syphilis, a small amount of the serum or the white part of the blood is dropped into a tube and then incubated at 56 degrees Celsius. After 30 minutes, it is taken from the incubator, placed on a slide, mixed with an antigen, and then rotated at 180 degrees for 4 minutes. The slide is then placed under a microscope for reading. A positive sample for syphilis would show signs of lumps or flocculation. Samples from the main lab are taken over here for the human immunodeficiency virus HIV screening, as well as the human T-cell lymphotropic virus HTLV and hepatitis B and C screenings. The different reagents or chemical compound for each of these viruses are added to the blood samples and placed in this machine. The reagent will cause a color change to the sample, indicating a positive reading.
Basically, it interprets this color change to a numerical value, which we can quantitate. Either if it's positive, it tells us the degree of positivity based on the numerical value, and if it's negative, we also get a numerical value, but we also have a cutoff value which can tell us whether it's negative or positive.
Whole blood is never administered as part of safety measures. The whole blood is separated into components: red blood cells or packed cells, plasma, or white cells.
If you had a patient who was anemic, who is in heart failure, and you gave whole blood, you're giving that person a lot of plasma unnecessarily. They really need the packed cells component. Not only is it unnecessary, but you put them at added risk of making the heart failure worse. So it is important to give just the component that is required.
And the safety procedure doesn't end there. A cross-matching process is also done to identify minor blood groups that might interfere with a successful transfusion process. But once all the tests are done to satisfaction and the separation process is completed, you can rest assured that the blood to be administered is safe.
We're taking justice to the people of Jamaica.
I am Delroy Chuck, Minister of Justice. The plea bargain legislation has been passed. Many persons charged with serious crimes are spending several years behind bars. It did not have to happen. Accept responsibility for your wrongdoing. Get a lighter sentence. Watch your children grow. Please, don't gamble with your future.
A message from the Ministry of Justice.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Sandra Clark. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
This is the 10th consecutive MSBM Roundtable, where we bring together international experts, senior leaders from the public and private sectors, and academia to discuss topical issues. And if you've been following the Roundtable, going back to 2010, you would have noted that the discussions from this forum have helped to strengthen the Caribbean economies in several ways. Today's theme, as your program shows, is Agile Leadership for Digital Transformation. And as usual, we have our own CEO chairing the function. So your chair for this morning's breakfast discussion is none other, I'm pleased to say, than Professor Dale Weber, no stranger at all to the majority of you in the room.
The University of the West Indies is very pleased, very proud to have the Mona School of Business and Management as the heart of its operation within the Faculty of Social Sciences, where we do the business that allows us to practice what we teach. We train those who go out there to make a difference in the business sector. We train for all aspects. We train at the undergraduate and the graduate level. We're therefore very pleased that we have the opportunity to work with partners when we can have that opportunity, such as today. So the university is built on access, alignment, and agility as our three key focal points within our strategic plan. Access, in that we want to have more students accessing the UWI. We want to have more of the research of the UWI accessible to business. We can do that if we are in the right connection. Enter the second A, alignment. And that is why we're here today. Under alignment, the University of the West Indies would like to offer itself as that entity which will allow those public and private sector organizations who wish to have research drive their decision-making process. We would like to be the engine of that research. The Mona School of Business has created in this roundtable opportunity a key component in that alignment, where we would like to do research, but we would like to get the questions from you. So people think about the university and say, we're in an ivory tower. We're over there doing what we want to do. Well, we would like to do what you want us to do. We could have a lot of answers for a lot of questions, but if we ask ourselves the questions, where are we going? So we would like to ask you to provide those questions as partners so that we can provide the research to give you the answers. This roundtable opportunity allows us the key components of that discussion. Finally, under the AAA strategy is agility. Now, the University of the West Indies, we will confess that our wheels turn very slowly. Apart from in the Mona School of Business, where Dr. McBean will not allow us to stand still and keeps dragging us into the next generation. Well, under agility, we would like to do two main things. One, we want digital transformation of our institution, and that I think fits in today with today's discussion in terms of agility and digital transformation. And two, we want to be sure that we are bringing a financial positive to the UWI. Now, what better way to do that than to partner with those of you in public and private sector who are already making that digital transformation? But enough from me, because I don't know anything about business. I know a little about management, so I'm going to try and manage as we move through today's exercise.
We're here this morning to speak about agile leadership for digital transformation. And it strikes me that when we speak about agility or agile leadership, some things come to mind: transformative, innovative, doing things differently, collaborative working. And it is a race that we always run. I've been at this digital transformation in various capacities since the early 90s. which is over 25 years now. And every time we think that we have succeeded, the game changes. So 10 years ago, there was nothing called social media marketing. But marketers that were trained 10, 15 years ago have to not just exist, but thrive in this new world of digital transformation. And there's more to come. We're in the age of machine learning, going to artificial intelligence. I was lucky enough to have started my research in artificial intelligence. I've maintained a more than passing interest. And it's just amazing what we thought we would do 20 years ago is far different from what we're actually doing and where we're going. And I'm sure Murat will speak more to those sort of challenges. So what it means is that we can't stand still. But also we have to get the basics right, because digital transformation in and of itself is not a goal. The goal is, what do we want the society to look like, and how does digital transformation get us there? And it means we have to have a generation of leaders and students who will always be thinking along that path. We have lots of work to do. I would take this opportunity to invite members of the public and private sector to partner with the Mona School of Business and Management and the university as a whole. If all people trained at the university were to stop working for one day, whether directly or indirectly, the country would shut down. We have many CEOs that have passed through the MSBM. I think of Don Webby, for example, who comes to mind. And we are proud of what we have trained. I always make these points when I speak publicly now. While it's important that people are able to function in the workplace immediately when they leave, it's more important that they're able to learn in the workplace and adapt themselves. And that is why we try not to train technicians who are work-ready, because it's impossible to do that for the dozens of companies out there. But we promise you we will train people who should be able to adapt to your changing circumstances. And so we invite you to partner with us as we go through these and other initiatives. Our students need help, they need mentoring. The pool and the society is a lot different today. So if you can't contribute as Minna goes on her much needed fundraising, contribute your time. Mentor a student. We would ask that you look at sponsoring a student, because if we're talking about digital transformation, it means we're in a knowledge economy. And if we're in a knowledge economy, we need people trained to function in that knowledge economy. So as I close, I welcome your support. The university is here to partner with you. Our sole reason is to take global knowledge and turn it into regional and local solutions for our markets. So we thank you for your support. I would like to add my welcome to you to this 10th anniversary, and I look forward to a really stimulating conference. Thank you.
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour.
Bullseye for Eyes Summer Sale. Try your luck at the Bullseye and get up to 40% off your frames. Land on the Bullseye and your eyeglasses are completely free. This summer, July 15th to August 31st, everyone is a winner at Island Eyewear. Conditions apply. Call 630-1180 or visit islandeyewear.com. Island Eyewear. Your price, your style.
Great design is not only how things look, but also how well they work. The GLC, more than meets the eye.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Mr. Murat Bisak is responsible for overseeing and shaping the PMI long-term strategy. Is Chief Strategy and Growth Officer of the PMI, supporting the execution of the company's business objectives, increasing the footprint in high-growth markets, and advancing the PMI's capabilities in partnering with organizations in both public and private sectors. And that is why we've asked him to come today. We invite to bring us our keynote, Mr. Murat Bisak.
The world is changing, and it's changing really, really fast. And I have 3 examples here to show you how much it's changing, and maybe you know all of this. The first example on the left is a painting, as you see. It was auctioned last year at an auction house in London and fetched about $300,000. It wasn't made by a human being. It was completely painted by machine intelligence. The beef in the middle is not meat, but if you eat it, it's exactly like meat. You may have tried it. You probably have heard of the IPO Better Burger about last month. And there are a number of companies right now producing beef-like products that are not animal-based, but taste exactly like that. Turns out that public is ready for these types of changes. According to a recent survey, about 60% of the people who were surveyed said that they would definitely buy it as long as the price is right. And on the very right, this is a representation of how the music industry has changed. And we all now listen to music. I'm sure, I know every one of you in Jamaica love music. I do too. And we now access it digitally. And of course, companies like Spotify and other companies who have disrupted the music space are looking at technologies such as blockchain to make sure that these contracts between the artists, the lawyers, the public is transparent. The royalties are calculated as soon as possible and distributed, and they use blockchain technology to do that. So 3 very different industries, huge change in each and every one, and essentially every one sector and industry is going through this type of disruption. And I'm here to tell you that this is actually going to accelerate from now on. And the reason for that is because when you look at the S-curve, and I'll show you one soon, we are in an exponential accelerated curve right now because we have computing power that is doubling and more than doubling every year. It's getting much cheaper. Everything is on the cloud, so all information is accessible. And we have built algorithms and programs that can access the cloud for free get that information, and think, and they do that faster than our brain can. So that's the change that's going on. And it's a little bit scary, but there is also the positive side to this. Now, with all that fear, and I know fear turns the attention, let's take a look at how fast we started adopting these technologies. So you look at, for example, the radio. It took the radio 38 years to reach 50 million users. It took the TV 13 years, iPod 4 years, Internet 3 years, Facebook about a year, and Twitter about 7 to 9 months. So today, what that tells me is that we as human beings are getting more and more used to adopting technology, and the penetration rates are increasing because we are now all connected. We all have these devices. They are much faster and more capable than anything that we've used when we were in school, and we are augmented by them, and we're able to enhance ourselves, and we're okay to accept technology. So that's us as individual human beings. However, when we look at companies, which is the collection of human beings at the end of the day, we don't see that pattern as fast or as easy of adoption. So on the left, this is a busy chart, but what it says is on the left, when you look at AI, for example, and ask the leaders whether they agree that AI is a technology that they should use in their companies, many would say, yes, it is. It's a very important technology. Everybody recognizes it. We know it. On the right-hand side of the chart, you see the companies that actually have adopted it. And what it says is most companies actually have not adopted it and are not using it. So there's a huge gap between us as a consumer and us as an organization and our adoption rates. And there's a huge gap between knowing and doing. And that gap is what makes most of these transformations difficult to be successful. Now, the result. This is a S&P 500, actually S&P index. And when you look at from 1960s, on the very left of this chart, all the way to today, and the y-axis represents the average company lifespan on years, you see that the lifespan of companies on the S&P index, these are the leading companies for the most part, is going down. So this is the picture, right? This is what happens when technology is faster than the adoption rate of the companies, and we are going to see this accelerated because we are on an upward exponential curve. As a result, many companies, actually this is one of our surveys, 80% of companies have started or have done a digital transformation. It goes back to the 90s. Transformation is fundamentally about creating something that is really different than what you have today. It can't be incremental, it has to be really different. And when we look at the world, that's what we see. You look at, for example, Tesla, and compare Tesla's stock performance versus Ford. And you would see that their market capitalization is higher than Ford over the lifespan of a significant portion of Ford's existence. The reason is they both make cars, but Tesla doesn't make a car. Tesla makes software. Because if you have a Tesla, you actually are buying a product that updates itself overnight while you're sleeping, because the software update that gets released and downloaded to your car automatically improves the car. That's not a car the way we know a car. Cars used to be designed 5 years in advance, developed and packaged and put in the market. That was a car. It didn't update itself. Now this is another product. And the reason, the fundamental, I think, issue is that companies that are in industries, in those industries, are not those that come up with the innovation. And that's the disruption theory. And we're not going to go into that today. But unless the change is fundamentally different, it is not a transformation. So what is PMI? PMI is a very interesting organization. First of all, we are a not-for-profit organization. we are here to advance the thinking of our individuals who have an idea and you want to see a result. So 50 years ago, when PMI started, we were started by 5 individuals who said, we are doing all these projects and we need standard ways of working around these projects, so let's start an association. And if we're successful, we'll reach 1,000 people. That's how we started. Today, we reach 3 million people, 50 years later, and we're much more than projects, programs, portfolios, and I'll tell you a little bit more. And today, we're publishing thought leadership pieces around AI and the impact of AI on future of work, quotients that one could calculate. What is your technical quotient as an organization, as an individual? What are the capabilities you need to have, and so forth. And when we look at 3 years ago, what we had talked about, and today what we're doing is drastically different. So we are, as ourselves, in the middle of a major transformation. Now, I'm going to switch now and talk a little bit about the 7 tenets that I would like to share with you that I've learned from my personal experience as a management consultant and corporate leader, from the 3 years that I've spent at PMI doing our own transformation and going to the world and talking to leaders and identifying what they are doing that we can learn from, and then coming back to our organization and contributing to our IP. So 3 different perspectives summarized in 7 tenets. Number 1, a transformation needs a why. Without the why, it's impossible to connect to individuals who are going to make it happen. The fundamental reason why you see the people adopting technologies is because they see why it is that they should actually use it. So we do. Most of the time, organizations come up with some idea or goal, but most of the time those goals don't connect to the people. And they are sometimes financial, sometimes maybe impossible to achieve, and the people in the ranks don't believe in it. And it's not something that they can resonate with, and they cannot identify with it, and they don't see the purpose. So it's very important to identify what is your purpose as an organization. What are you trying to do? Now, the second thing that's important, we need to sing the same song. It has to be the same thing, otherwise it's dissonance. It has to be, there needs to be an orchestrator, and everybody needs to know their role, and they need to play the same tunes. Otherwise, it won't work, right? It's easier said than done. And so you see here on the left-hand side of the chart, our new CEO. He came in, and he read our strategy, he read our transformation plan, and he said, I love it. I'm going to sign on to this, and I will talk about it everywhere I go. And now he's talking about it everywhere he goes. Everybody has started understanding what is it that we're doing. And the song started to become real for us. So you can ask anyone at PMI what we're doing. Everybody would tell you exactly what we're doing the same way as I would tell you, because it's clear.
Do you want more experience from your SUV? Introducing the 2020 Nissan X-Trail with leading-edge technology, intelligent ride and chassis control, a round view monitor, and hill start assist for confidence behind the wheel, plus auto headlights and panoramic sunroof. Drive the SUV with more experience. The Nissan X-Trail, available today at Fidelity Motors.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-28701 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Number 3 is engaging your own people. There are many, I used to be a consultant, and there are many consultants that are really great, but we can't rely on them to deliver the transformation because they go away. We need to engage our own people to deliver the transformation. And to do that, the first pillars need to be there. So they need to have bought into the purpose, and they need to know the song that we're singing. Multiple things, right? So yes, purpose, yes, the song needs to be clear. But there's another thing that needs to be in there as well, which is empowerment and trust. And that is very critical because in most organizations, we know from surveys, and I'm sure you do surveys in your organizations, you will find that individuals are not engaged for the most part. They're looking at their jobs as something that they have to do, and then they go home and they have a private life. But when, as leaders, we allow individuals to fail, they start taking risks. And this is one of the agile principles. But it's very difficult to, as leaders, to accept that because we are working in organizations that are built for effectiveness and efficiency, right? That's the unit measure, productivity. Now we're asking our individuals to take risks. Why would anybody do that? Their jobs may be at risk, right? So a lot of people don't do it. Even if you gave them permission, they don't do it. As leaders, one of the things that we've done is I've said to my teams and anybody who presented to me, and they were coming to me for decisions, I told them, I am not going to make a decision. I will support your decision, but you need to explain to me why you're making that decision and how it fits to our strategy. So don't ask me to make the decisions, because if I start making decisions, then I don't need you. Number 4, this is interesting. We started acting like venture capitalists at a not-for-profit organization called PMI. You can do that. So if we can do that, you can do that. So what does that mean? There are great things about Silicon Valley. Of course, risk-taking and ideas is one tool. But one thing that VCs do, other than funding, is they don't fund the whole way. They fund it in stages. So if somebody comes to us and says, I have this idea, and now we have an innovation, we're building PMI labs, we're making investments in startups and so forth, and all that happened over the last 9 months, we say, okay, pitch that idea to us and tell us, what are you going to deliver in 12 weeks? So we started thinking about 12-week increments. What is the customer going to see in 12 weeks with your idea? If you can provide a vision for that, we'll fund you for 12 weeks. And then you come back. That's how we work. So a lot of our thinking historically, and you may think that project management is all about many, many months of planning, many, many months or years of implementation. We have changed that internal to PMI. Now it's all about, in our world, what do you deliver in 12 weeks to the customer? What do you need to do that? And we'll give you that money, and then you have to come back and first prove that that idea actually works. And then we can give you more. And that's how we do it. And it's extremely powerful when you do. So to do all this, you need to build a culture of unlearning and, of course, relearning. But unlearning first of all the ways how the organization works today. Because in every organization, there are many meetings with a lot of people in the room, and somebody will come up with an idea, and somebody will say, yes, but, and, or, well, we don't really do that here. Or we do it a little bit different here. You have to go talk to marketing. They would not let you do this. Or brand will say this. So a lot of ideas get killed. So this unlearning of that behavior is extremely important. So rather than but, we're using and rather than having meetings with 20 people, we actually reduce the meetings and team sizes significantly to sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6. And said, you can make a decision. All you have to do is inform and don't break rules and government and laws and you know, things of that nature. But you can make a lot of decisions. And that's part of the unlearning. Which gets me to one of the best quotes that I've heard. And it was very impactful when I listened to it. It came from Dick Costolo. He's the former CEO of Twitter. He's the guy who took Twitter from $1 million to $1 billion. And he made this presentation to us at one of our PMI events last year. And he said, organizations, for the most part, think about their legacy. But what they really need to do is understand the legacy, but protect the future. What do you need to do to protect the future? The legacy is done. You are responsible for the future. And it's very difficult to do that in organizations that are 50-year-old, 20-year-old more, because we think that we have a lot of legacy and that we have to respect, which is true, we need to respect it. But that legacy is not going to make our future. So we need to unattach it ourselves sometimes from it, and really, and that's why I put number one, what's the purpose? Really attach to our purpose and restate our purpose in the sense of what it is today and in the future, and look at the future and not the past. So that's the transition that every organization needs to make. The last one is a little bit self-serving, but it is very true. We say organize around projects, and we're not just about projects, we're about strategy execution, but we like the unit of value delivery, and that unit of value delivery in many cases is a project. So what does that mean, organize around projects? Isn't that obvious? Well, it isn't, actually. We are seeing a major shift in the market, and that shift requires organizations to rethink how they think about delivering value to their customers. Most organizations today have a role and a job which attaches to a desk and a person. But in reality, if you look at how organizations deliver the value, they deliver value around projects. So with temporary assignments, with temporary goals and outcomes attached to a project, you have many people, and their role is doing that project right. Not what it says in their job description, right? Because that ties them to a silo, marketing, finance, but their value delivery is a project. But why are organizations not organized that way then, right? So we took that, and now what we do at PMI is we organize around projects. We have very clearly laid out what is we call it value tree. What is our value tree that attaches to a customer result? And how do every project clearly contribute to that value result? Of course, we have programs, portfolios, etc., products. And we actually took the people out of their jobs, and we said, you are now 100% dedicated to doing this. And people said, wait a second, is my job gone when this project is done? We said, no, don't worry about the job. You deliver this, and there will be more. because we're in constant transformation. So we're changing that, and we're actually going to be talking a lot about it because we are in a project economy. All of us are in the project economy today, and that we need to change how we are structured as organizations. So to summarize, these are simple statements that are very difficult to do, but there is really 7 of them. If you do these right, you're going to achieve a lot. And I haven't really talked about digital or technology that much. I talked a lot about people, teams, and individuals, because at the end of the day, it's the people, teams, and our organizations are all about that deliver anything that is of value to our societies. So if we follow these, change some of the practices that we do, I think we can be more successful than looking at the digital transformation as an adoption of a technology. It's all about the people.
How are you going with all of that? You're moving?
No. I'm a passport I come for renewing, you know. But you want me to say, you in that place full of crowd and the long line I take you all day. Make sure you walk with some food. And...
No, man, things improve, man. Them have a lot of drop box where you can use inside. You finish in no time. Yeah, man, them are done.
Yeah. And some food, man. Try this. A drop box.
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
As we contemplate the theme, Agile Leadership for Digital Transformation, the subtext of what we are really saying or asking is, what do we have to tackle today to make tomorrow? In the case of climate, today we have to tackle rising temperature to prevent the continued complex shifts affecting our planet's weather and climate systems, manifesting in rising average temperatures, extreme weather events, rising seas, and a range of other impacts. As we embrace agility in leadership as what's needed for the digital transformation, we sometimes forget how uncharted this new digital world remains, and that it is a work in progress, and that it is people who are at the center of the digital transformation. The speaker ahead of me pointed to that. So as we think about agile leadership for digital transformation this morning, I believe all business leaders still have to answer some critical questions that Peter Drucker asked some 40 years ago, and he asked 5 critical questions. The first one is, what is your mission? He said, your mission statement should not explain what you do, but rather why you do what you do. The second question is, who is your customer? And I know we're transitioning to the digital world, but these are still very basic questions that we have to take with us into that world. Who's your customer? He said, you must find out who your customer is and then organize all of your efforts towards meeting their needs and bringing them value, even as you transform digitally. The next question, what does your customer value? And he said this question is probably the most important. The key is that it can only truly be answered by your customer themselves. So you must know what your customers want and need. And what are your results is the next question. You must be able to measure your results in both qualitative and quantitative terms. You must not only know what your results are, but you must have a standard for evaluating them. And finally, what is your plan? Your plan should include your mission statement, action steps, and a way to evaluate your results. And if you can't summarize those points, then you don't have a plan to achieve your goals. Make the transformation to the digital world all you want. Just don't forget that it is the people who are at the center of the digital transformation.
It's certainly a pleasure to be here with my co-worker, Dr. Silburn Clark Silburn. Our brief presentation provides more insights from ongoing research at Mona School of Business and Management on the digital transformation imperative. Last year, we reported from the research that few Jamaican firms had declared a digital agenda. And we also reported that the 2018 World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Report, and you know Mona School collects the Jamaican data for that. This report indicated that Jamaica's economic growth is being severely constrained by low levels of ICT adoption, low levels of exports, and low innovation capability. You've heard from Murat and certainly the minister, and they make the point that whereas digital transformation is crucial, it is fundamentally about people. Our discussion seeks to answer one fundamental question. What should be done to lead digital transformation towards Vision 2030 Jamaica? Our executive director, Dr. David McBean, and the minister just now, has made it clear that digital transformation is not the goal. And we all know that we have a mere 10 years left to achieve Vision 2030. You know, and as the minister just said, that Vision 2030 seeks to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. And you also know that although we've made progress, the progress is slow. In fact, the minister has just said that a key part of making good progress is to measure the outcome that we want. And so we have always said at Mona School of Business and Management that the place of choice in this statement needs to be measured explicitly to direct collective effort towards the goal of Vision 2030. Indeed, when you look at the World Economic Forum's report on competitiveness, the top 20 countries in the world have a global competitiveness score of above 77% as the last year. And they're not staying still, 77%. Jamaica scored 58%. And despite improving by 0.5%, we fell one place from 78 out of 140 countries to 79. We know from the report that innovation is at the heart of where we need to improve. The report makes it clear that innovation is especially critical as a driver of productivity, growth, and value creation. And the report defines innovation as the generation and conversion of ideas and inventions into saleable goods and services. So it doesn't just stop with research and development. It's generating value from it. There is good news in that a recent survey, global survey conducted by Deloitte, revealed that a large majority of companies across the world are not ready to renew their business models or embrace the technologies associated with the fourth industrial revolution. And what this means is that if we can step up our game, we have an opportunity to boost our competitiveness towards Vision 2030, somewhat ahead of the pack. However, it requires all hands on deck. It's not just about government. It's also about the private sector and every other stakeholder.
Do you want more experience from your SUV? Introducing the 2020 Nissan X-Trail with leading-edge technology, intelligent ride and chassis control, a round view monitor, and hill start assist for confidence behind the wheel, plus auto headlights and panoramic sunroof. Drive the SUV with more experience. The Nissan X-Trail, available today at Fidelity Motors.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
So the University of the West Indies, as you know, builds itself on teaching, research, and outreach. The outreach component means we need to find the connection with our communities around. We're built on a AAA access strategy, so it's access, alignment, and agility. Alignment is perhaps the one that's at play here today, where the research and the teaching of the university needs to align itself with public and private sector so that we can get the right questions and the right answers to the right places. It's very important. The university could do all the research it wishes. If it doesn't get that research into the hands of the decision makers or those who are making the plans for the country, then we may not be doing the best for our country. So we want to focus that by taking the research to the places that need the research done. We would like the UWI to become the research engine of every business that wants research done. Rather than create their own research and development platforms, why not ask the University of the West Indies, can we do the research on their behalf? So for me, this is a fantastic opportunity to meet the public and private sector, to offer what the university has in terms of research, so they can lean on us and we can get the questions that they want.
In terms of digital itself, we have even announced that we're going digital. Simple thing like in business cards, we stop printing those. People don't do expense accounts using paper anymore. So we're literally living what we're talking about. And we're making the company agile. We're doing everything digital now. Most of our communication to our consumers is on social media, which is a shift from when I started back then, when we only had JBC and the Gleaner. So even currently marketers have to be agile, using the same concepts and discipline, but understanding different ways of reaching the consumers, because the consumers now consume media in a different way. We're preparing students that are going to be able to adapt to the new world. It makes no sense training somebody who in 5 years become redundant. If you think about it, 10 years ago, access to even social media wasn't as pervasive. So therefore it has to be the sort of student who understands the concepts, can adapt, and can learn quickly. And that's where we want to be. Even the way that we teach will have to be looked at. We have to think about, do we build more block and steel buildings, or do we build more social platforms that we can attract students from anywhere in the world, rather than in a classroom at Mona?
As we move further and further into imparting knowledge to the market, especially the financial market, we have to look at how effectively or efficiently we can do it. And one way is to engage with digital technology. You might know that for the stock exchange, in the 1990s, we had issues with how our market was perceived in terms of transparency, in terms of just effectiveness. And what we had to do was to employ technology to ensure that information, data, is properly stored, is properly used in order to effect transactions across the market. And we did that by introducing the Central Securities Depository. Then we moved on, coupled with that, to the trading platform, moving from an outcry to using technology and the digital age to ensure that there was transparency and ease of doing business in the marketplace.
We spoke a lot about what agile leadership means, and I talked about 7 tenets about agile leadership. And to summarize it, it really boils down to people. We talk a lot about disruption, a lot about technology, but one thing that this technology and disruption has common is that it democratizes for everyone and gives access to anyone with a good idea to make that idea a reality. And I think that's the fundamental takeaway. It's all about people, it's all about ideas, and how do you get that done? And I think when you take that principle and think about next 10 years, we're looking at the 2030 where someone who can compete individually with an organization can actually do that, because technology is going to be extremely cheap and available to anybody in the world. That's the democratization part of technology. So technology will be very pervasive, and for those individuals that can understand and know how to use it, it's going to make them a competitor to an organization with large assets. And that's, I think, very important for Jamaica to think about what that means, because Jamaica is obviously a country with a lot of investments and income coming from tourism, less about exports and less about technology. But now, if you think about the next 10 years, you have an opportunity to leapfrog. Because if you invest, for example, in the education and training of the individuals that can take the technology and use it to make something concrete and a result happen, I think Jamaica can make a huge progress over the next 10 years and really compete with the giants of the world. Because when you think about 2030, we're going to be looking at much smaller entities that are creative and can get to a result. And irrespective of where they are, as long as they're connected to the cloud and the internet, and at this point everybody is connected, you can compete with anyone in the world. So I think strategically, I would invest in innovation and training and education of the next generation. Invest in people with ideas and allow them to learn and advance and find how they can actually take an idea and bring it to reality. So the skill sets that are needed for that is creativity, digital fluency, being able to work with technologies, and project management is a major one, and of course we advocate for it because the project discipline is all about how do I take an idea and bring it to result as fast as possible. So those, and then critical thinking, of course, the fifth level. So if Jamaica invests in that over the next 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, I think that will become a huge asset for the country to be more competitive in the global space.
How does one move from the idea to actualization in a place like Jamaica?
Excellent question. So for an entrepreneur to compete in the global space, one now has the ability to tap into those big platforms that exist. So for example, Alibaba, Amazon, Etsy, there are so many platforms. So you don't have to recreate that. All you have to create is what is my value proposition using those platforms and really focus on that, right? As an entrepreneur, the opportunity is how do I organize myself to be participant of those platforms, and how do I then connect the value that I can deliver through those platforms to global customer base using the resources that I have available to me in Jamaica. If an entrepreneur focuses just on that question and starts creatively brainstorming, I think the answers will come, and that's all they have to do. I think what is really important to consider is we need to believe in ourselves and we need to invest in ourselves, because none of us have learned this in school. When I graduated, frankly, I'm going to age myself, I'm 48. It's many, many years ago, and nobody taught me the skills that I have today to be able to compete in today's world. So similarly, one takeaway is how do I invest in myself? And the resources are vast. The resources that organizations such as PMI provides is very, very cheap, sometimes free. There are other resources like Khan Academy, etc. So use those resources and educate yourself and invest in yourself. That's the fundamental competitive advantage that one can create for him or herself in this world.
The business community has suffered tremendously due to extortion. Some have not just lost their businesses, their jobs, but lost their lives. This is extremely impactful to the growth of our country and to the progress of our people. We are our brother's keeper. Let's put a stop to this. No more use of force. No more use of fear. No more extortion. No more.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season Season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
This week on Chill Spot, it's all about getting fit and staying in shape with Patrice McHugh, CEO of Bars to Go and Jamaica's first master mixologist. She'll be taking us to Spartan Health Club for a workout, and then later on it will be on to a fabulous evening of exquisite food and drink. Stay tuned. Hey Patrice.
Hey Mama, what's
Hi.
up?
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, so first and foremost, what are we going to be doing today?
We're going to be doing a leg circuit today. So we're going to be doing some squats, deadlifts, yes, leg press, leg curls, leg extension.
All right, so we're here at Spartan. Why is health and wellness so important to you?
Because I'm a fat girl on the inside. I am.
Good answer.
I am. And it's, you know, fitness becomes a way of me keeping that fat girl calm and also being healthy at the same time.
What about Spartan in particular? What is it about this gym why you come here?
That's simple. It's the #1 gym in the island. And in addition to that, it has the best weight room, cardio room, the trainers are the best, and the service is above par.
Wow, sounds like I need to start coming
You
here.
definitely need to.
And would you say it's ever too late to start working out?
It's never too late. It's about starting. Once you start, that's all that counts.
Good, but I can't stop if I start.
No. Remember, you know, you're building a lifestyle. Why stop?
All right, so legs you said.
Legs.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. Let's work on our backs.
Okay. So I just pull this thing down?
Yes. Do you want sexy back? Put in the work.
So Patrice, what is it exactly that you do? What is a master mixologist?
Okay. A master mixologist is the highest level it is that you can reach in the bartending arena. So it's something that the USBG, which is the United States Bartending Guild, came out with in 2009, and it's basically a bartender becoming a chef behind the bar. So that's where you start studying spirits and how to infuse it with spices, herbs, etc. You know, stuff like that. In addition, you start now incorporate molecular mixology in your bar.
Molecular mixology?
Yes. So with molecular mixology, what you basically do now is you start creating wow effect using your cocktails. So you now have your edible cocktails, you have your nitrogen cocktails, you have now where you're dabbling a bit into like the master distiller world of where you now start aging your cocktails. So you actually make a cocktail, like example, a whiskey sour, and instead of serving it to your customer, you can put that whiskey sour in a barrel and then age it for like a month, 2 months before you serve it back to your customer.
So explain to us what a typical day is like for you. Do you wake up and mix a drink?
No. A typical day for me starts at 3:30. Get up, get something.
In the afternoon?
No, in the morning.
Oh, okay.
In the morning, Candy. In the morning. So get something light. Like most times it's a banana, and then I go running. I run between 4:30. So it depends on how many miles I'm doing, because I go up to 10 miles during the week. After that, then I do hill training for endurance, then come to the gym, and then get ready for work. And in the middle of that, you know, I have to be a mommy.
So how long have you been doing this?
12 years plus.
12?
Yes.
Oh, Patrice, you're not even that old.
Look here, man, you're aging me. You know, I was an accounting clerk before.
Accounting?
Yes, yes. So strange.
A complete different industry.
Total opposite. Let's move on to another machine.
Patrice, 12 years in the industry, but when did Barsico actually start?
In 2005.
2005. So what would you say are some of your greatest successes?
In 2009, I was featured in the Wall Street Journal.
Wow.
Yes. For, mixology. In 2011, Don Ule came out with a recipe book where they feature the world's greatest mixologists. And I was also featured in that, where I had to submit a recipe. And I did the Reposado Lightning, which was a dedication to Usain at the time because he had just won the Olympics. And then in 2012, I was one of the 50 under 50 recipients.
Oh, the PSOJ 50 under 50.
50.
Congratulations,
Exactly.
Pat.
Thank you.
Those are amazing feats. And you're just so young. And what would you say are some of your challenges then in getting the business off the ground or just being a woman in business?
All right, some of my challenges in terms of business is always trying to compete with a bigger company. As a young entrepreneur, and a small business owner, it's very hard for you to compete with larger companies. So you have to come up with creative ways in terms of keeping the business alive. Another challenge I had, which from time to time becomes an issue, is credit facilities. Credit facilities are asking entrepreneurs for a whole heap of stuff. And as an entrepreneur, if you want, something from them, where are you going to get it from? That's the reason why you're going to them.
It's a little more difficult.
Exactly. I would say those two. You're set.
I'm up. I hope I can do the weight, the weight that Patrice is doing.
It's not that bad. Come on, it's not that bad.
So this is a male-dominated field, you'd say. What would you say keeps your edge in an industry like this?
By trying to stay a step ahead of my male counterparts. I have to always find ways to be innovative, creative. And that's how our training academy was started, Barsico Training Academy.
You have that too?
Yes, we do.
Wow.
So what I did is we started the Hospitality Academy that does hospitality training. So we do bartending training, and not only just regular bartending training, but we take it a step further. So what do we do is a bartender is doing the advanced program. We now teach them how to do molecular mixology. Every customer that goes to a bar, they're used to the flair attendant. Those are the guys that throw the bottles up and down.
That's what that's called.
Exactly. But what they're not used to is, instead of drinking their cocktail, they're not used to eating their cocktail. Also, when they're drinking their cocktail, they're not used to seeing smoke and stuff coming from their cocktail.
Right.
So in order to create that experience all over the island, that's what we started teaching the bartenders in the school.
Impressive. And finally, what advice would you have for entrepreneurs who want to get into a field like this?
Hard work. It's a lot of work. And the disadvantage with up-and-coming entrepreneurs, they expect overnight success. They want to go to bed, wake up, and they're a millionaire. You have to put in the work. You understand? Because at the end of the day, you're the person who's responsible for your paycheck. You can't listen to naysayers. You come up with an idea, and then you have somebody say, no, that's not going to work, man. That's not going to work. You have to, once you come up with an idea, you understand, start do your market research. Put together your marketing plan, and then execute the idea. And then don't procrastinate. And that's one of the biggest disadvantages that we entrepreneurs have. We procrastinate a lot.
All right, assuming this workout is now over. Patrice, who would you say is your biggest inspiration?
My biggest inspiration is my daughter.
You have a daughter looking like this?
I do. I have an 11-year-old. And she's the reason why I'm always driving. She pushes me.
So with so many things going on at home and in your business, how important is it for you to have downtime, for you to just relax?
And that's where my partner comes into play.
Naturally.
Yes. From time to time, you have to reel me in. Come, Pat, come. You have to remember you have your family, so you have to find balance and stuff. And he's a big support system for me. I'm very thankful and grateful for the support that he lends and for always trying to bring me back down to earth,
Just like a partner should.
Yes.
What would you say are your goals for the future, personally or professionally?
Professional goals is we're expanding the school. And I'm also getting married in a couple of months.
Getting married, congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you give us any wedding dates?
Let's just say in a couple of months, I'll now be called Mrs. White. That's all.
Girl.
Thanks.
So, what is that mask? What does it do?
It's a training mask. So what it does, it simulates a training as if you're on high altitude. So you can train at 3,000 feet, 12,000 feet, 15,000 feet, or 18,000 feet.
So that makes it more difficult.
Exactly.
Oh.
It does. So if I'm supposed to do the same routine without the training mask, because I'm used to training in the mask, it makes it much easier for me to do the routine, and I can do more reps without the mask.
Okay, I get you. All right, so our next stop is Mountain Spring.
Exactly.
How many of you guys work out there? So what specifically do you do when you come up here?
We do training with resistant bands, ropes, etc.
I'm not going to that.
Of course. Why are you here?
I'm 36. I'm a husband, a manager, and still very good looking. In 2 hours, I have the most important meeting of my life. But first, it's time to play. Suzuki Vitara.
As a teacher for over 8 years, we need to realize that the children are our future. We need to love them, appreciate and respect our children. No more violence against children. No more!
So Patrice, you brought us up here to Mountain Spring. Where exactly are we?
We're exactly upper Barbican, hills above Barbican.
Okay, and what do people normally do when they come up here?
They use it for their cardio routine. A lot of people are bored in the gym. You know, I personally hate working out on the treadmill, so you have to get your cardio exercises somewhere. So you get a good burn climbing the hill to come up to the top, and then from here up there, then you do sprint drills over and over.
So what specifically do you do when you come up here? Because I know that's not what you do.
When I come here, I do what I call hill training. So we do training with resistant bands, ropes, chains, weights, etc.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, of course. Why are you here?
But you don't recommend it for beginners like me, right? It's only for the experts like you.
Not for beginners, but once you start getting into the fitness routine, then you can transition into what it is that I do.
All right, so what exactly we're going to be doing today? Because you're getting me scared now.
We're going to do some hill training that will incorporate using the resistant bands, ropes, chains. I'm sure you've seen me with my chain already. Yes. And we have some 45 plates. So we're going to have a lot of fun today.
So is there anything I need to know before I do this thing?
I hope you ate before.
I did. So what kind of results do you get from this kind of training?
If you're working out to lose weight, then it's a good fat burning process. For me personally, I do it for endurance and for strength. I want to be strong like the male counterparts. You understand me? I have an ego that's very big. I want to do whatever it is that the male counterpart is doing, I'm able to do it. So it's more of a strength endurance thing for me.
So like you said, you have to be, you know, a little advanced in the gym or in your fitness regimen to come up here and do what you do. What else do we need to know to do this sort of training?
Remember I asked you if you ate. Eating is important before you start training and to stay hydrated throughout the process. The minute you start feeling any sort of discomfort, because you know we really go hardcore with the training, so the minute you start feeling any sort of discomfort, you have to let us know, because then you have to stop. Health is important and safety is important for us.
I think I'm feeling a little discomfort already.
You're still doing it, man.
All right, Pat, well, let's go. I'm ready, I think.
Okay.
Ready?
Oh, Jesus.
Go. Go.
Well, Pat, I don't know about you, but it was a pretty intense workout and I'm ready to have a drink and just cool off later. So we're going to be linking up, right?
Definitely.
All right, good. Later.
Yeah.
Hi guys, hi Pat.
Hey Candy.
How are you?
What's up?
So who do we have here?
This is Tess Marie, Dawnette, and Janelle.
Hi guys, so how do you guys know each other? Or know Pat, I should say.
Well, I've known Pat for more than 15 years, so I'm probably her longest friend.
Boy, Tess just aged me. Tess? Oh my God.
I've known her for more than 15 years, yes. Pat and I go way back.
Thank you, Tess. You're very old. Thank you.
We had a mutual friend. Let's get to the details.
That sounds juicy, you know. How was about you? Oh, you guys train together? Yes, we did a little bit of that today. Not much, not much. So what else do you guys do for fun?
Well, we get together a lot and try different restaurants, hang out at Pat's house, you know, girl talk. Yes, and Empire.
Love and hip hop. Come on.
So lots of TV shows.
Yes, a lot of TV.
Reality show fanatics.
Yes. You know, enjoying each other's company, catching up from the week.
I know I was talking to Pat earlier today and she mentioned that she'll be getting married soon. So are there any bachelorette plans? Spill the beans.
Well, you know, I can't really spill the beans, but let's just say
right, to include everybody. Well, all this talk about the bachelorette has me a little thirsty, so I'd like to order. I've heard a lot of good things about the Blue Cosmos, so I'd like to try that, please. Thank you very much. And let's talk a little bit about Opa. What brings you guys here? Why do you guys hang out here?
I personally love the vibe and the ambience of the place. Outside of that, Opa has a customer service experience. Alex, the owner, he goes beyond the call of duty in terms of ensuring that each customer experience that service that he's delivering. And then food, we're all foodies. Remember I told you I'm a fat girl on the inside. So when I want good food to eat, I come here.
What What exactly is Greek food though?
Well, it's actually regular food, chicken, shrimp, pork, fish, but the main element of the meal is the sauces, which is tomato sauce and lemon sauce. So that actually, you know,
It's
makes
very
it
healthy.
very palatable and it's healthy.
And that fits in my lifestyle.
And we all know that Pat is all about the healthy lifestyle. All right, in Pat's case, I'm gonna make an exception. What sentence would you use to describe Pat?
Hard work in everything she does.
Pat is loyal, very headstrong. Those two elements of her personality can be misunderstood at times, but usually it's always coming from a good place. Okay. Pat is straightforward.
Yes. If it had to be one word we had to choose, it would be straightforward.
Well, we have to keep it real, guys. We have to keep it real.
Okay, 2 words. Straightforward and 3 words. Straightforward and she's a fitness junkie.
Right,
We all know
definitely
that.
got that.
Yes.
Definitely got that. All right, well, all this talk about food is getting me very, very hungry, so I'm ready to taste this very healthy lemon-based excitement that they have here. So let's head inside.
That makes 2 of us.
Let's go.
How would you describe yourself?
I'm a no-nonsense person.
No nonsense.
I get straight to the point.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
So Pat, we've sort of heard from the girls on what they think of you. How would you describe yourself?
I'm a no-nonsense person.
No nonsense.
I get straight to the point.
Talk to us a little bit about your childhood. Where were you raised and how?
I'm from Spanish Town. I was raised by both my mother and father. Different households, so back and forth between both of them. And then when I reached high school, I started moving around from one family to the other family to the other family. Stayed with some friends at one point in time. Yeah. My childhood was a very rough one, very, very rough. And I guess that's what dictates who I am now, who I am today. I went to Tarrant Primary, then Mergrove, then went on to, UCC after. I'm a certified accountant.
Right. I think you mentioned that earlier.
Then I got into the bar service business.
Right. What about siblings? Do you have any siblings?
I have 3 brothers.
How many siblings did you say you had?
3.
3 siblings.
Brothers.
But you only have 1 daughter.
Yes.
All right, let's talk a little bit about her.
Beautiful girl.
That's the apple of my eye.
Clearly, she's blushing.
They're nothing alike. That's how I know that.
Complete opposite.
She is a good girl, I can say that. I mean, we all know that she went through a lot growing up, so what I really admire about her is that she really ensured that her daughter had the best,
The relationship I have with my daughter, now, I wish I had that relationship with my mother. Motherhood for me is a learning experience and also give me the opportunity of reliving the the childhood that I wanted to live as a child. So the relationship that we have, we're very tight. Some people call her my twin. We're very, 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 very
What do they
close.
actually look alike?
No, we don't.
And they don't act alike either. And she's very proper and quiet.
Very prim, very, very prim. And she'll be like, Mom, you're embarrassing me.
That's her favorite line.
Yes.
So they're honestly, they're like sisters. From what I've seen, they're like sisters.
Well, if they're wearing the same clothes, then they're certainly more like sisters than anything else.
And trust me, Pat take it as a compliment.
And what about your husband-to-be? Tell us the story of how you guys met.
Oh, wow.
Donovan.
By the way, we're all team Don. So we have an ongoing
Hello,
joke.
can I speak?
Sorry.
Can I
speak? We're all team Don.
Like, Don can do nothing wrong where they're concerned. Don and I, we knew of each other before because we're in the same industry. But we first exchanged conversation at Miami International Airport when I needed his help with a business issue. And we can just say the rest is history from there.
What's the one thing about yourself that people would never guess?
One thing that people don't know about me, they will never guess it because I always shut down that topic or pretend that it doesn't matter to me, is to this very day, I wish I had a relationship with my mother. Hopefully we will do so sometime before either of us passes away, but that's something that I wish.
What advice would you give to the younger you, if you could give the younger you some advice?
That's a tough one. I got married at a pretty young age. I got married when I was 19 years of age. And if I could go back in the past to my younger self, I'd tell my younger self to wait.
To wait.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
I think we all can respect that as
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
You know, I think you need to know yourself more and explore your youth first before you know you with somebody else. Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know.
You don't have to spend a bag of money on divorce, don't you?
But on a lighter note, where is the
Food. Thank you.
Opa.
Opa.
Should we say our prayer or blessing?
Yes, absolutely. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us here together as friends, old and new. And we ask that you allow our bodies to use this food that has been so graciously prepared for us, dear Lord. And we give you thanks and praises. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jesus.
Beautiful.
Well, Patrice, I just want to tell you thank you for having us today. One of your chill spots was a little exhausting, but that's okay. I can appreciate your lifestyle, and of course, Opa is absolutely fabulous. So thank you for having us.
You're welcome, Candy.
All right. I can't complain about the day that I've had with Patrice. We started out with our workouts at Spartan, and we've ended the night here at Opa, where we've had fabulous food and drinks. Until next time, I'm Candy for Chill Spot. Bye. Patrice did this at 10, but I'm clearly much, much stronger, so I'm moving this down to 40.
You're capturing that?
So,
no!
Woo! I can barely lift this. All this bachelorette talk has me a little thirsty, so I forgot the name of my drink. What name? Blue Cosmo. Okay. So what the blah 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 blah. What kind of restaurant is it though?
It's a Greek restaurant.
So what is Greek food exactly?
Oh, we are to know. What should I get technical now? But Jesus! I want this one.
What is it?
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On Point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
44-year-old woman goes to her doctor for evaluation and treatment for infertility. She has been worried and recently began very painful and prolonged menstruation. During her physical examination, her doctor feels a large mass on her uterus, and ultrasound shows it's about 40 centimeters in diameter. He believes it's a fibroid tumor and discusses several treatment options. She chooses and will begin treating the fibroid, then will have it removed. She gets assurance that after treatment, she will have no more painful cycles and excessive bleeding, and that she will be able to conceive. This story is quite familiar to many women of reproductive age. Uterine fibroids in women of color is what we will look at on this episode of The Good Life.
Hello, Dr. Hardy.
How are you?
Dr. Hardy, I've heard all about your work on fibroids in women, and you'd be the perfect person to talk to on this week of The Good Life. First of all, how did you get started? Why fibroids in women?
Well, fibroids are 3 to 9 times more common in black women than in whites. And with our population being more than 90% from African descent, it stands to reason that we would have many women with fibroids, and many of these women would have symptomatic fibroids. So there is indeed a great need for treatment modalities to be developed for the treatment of these women.
Talk to us about fibroids. What exactly are fibroids?
To understand the whole thing about fibroids, we first have to talk about where fibroids are found.
Right.
Fibroids are found in the womb. The womb is a muscular organ in the pelvis, behind the bladder, and in front of the rectum. Essentially, it is the organ which bleeds every month for the menstrual cycle in women in the reproductive age group. Its main function, and probably only function, is to bear children. Fibroids now occupy this womb. Again, the womb is a pear-shaped organ, and you could have fibroids in any part of this organ. If you were to cut the pear, say, in half, you could have fibroids on the inner side. That's where the seed of the pear might be.
Right.
You could have fibroids in the fleshy part of the pear. Mm-hmm. That's the yellow part.
Yeah.
And you could have fibroids on the outside of this pear.
Okay.
You could also have fibroids attached to this pear by a stalk. And this could occur on the outside and on the inside as well, from where you might have the seed of this pear.
Okay.
These have names, of course. They are pedunculated fibroids, as we would call them. Sometimes fibroids, of course, might be attached to other organs in the abdomen, and these are called parasitic.
How do fibroids usually develop?
Well, I think the question you really want to ask is what causes fibroids. Mm-hmm. The truth is that we don't know.
Right.
What we do know is that there has to be some genetic component, because they're more common in black people. And they only grow during the reproductive years, which means that your female hormones has something to do with them and their development. There has been lots of arguments about nutrition, but fibroids are common in black women in all the geographical regions of the world where the diets are different. So I'm not convinced at all that diet has anything to do with it.
So we don't know the exact causes of fibroids, but how would I know whether or not I may have fibroids?
Most patients with fibroids, interestingly, have no symptoms, and many times they are discovered on routine examination by the doctor, which every lady should have, especially if you're sexually active. in terms of having your annual gynecological check, your pap smear, and your pelvic examination. And lots of times, that's when fibroids are discovered. Sometimes, though, the patients may have symptoms. These symptoms may be related to bleeding issues. The periods might start to become heavier, more painful. They may last for a longer time. You may just have pelvic pains. You may have what we call bulk symptoms, where you start noticing that you have to pass your urine more frequently, because the expanding uterus with the fibroids are competing with the bladder which is in front of it for the same space. Some people may have difficulties with passing their stools because the fibroids might be abutting against the rectum, hence the bulk symptoms. Some people may have issues in terms of fertility. One may cause you to miscarry, or they may cause you to not become pregnant. Although having said that, you still can become pregnant, or some people do become pregnant with their fibroids anyway, some people. Another symptom which we don't hear a lot about is discharge. In terms of fibroids, you can have a heavy discharge as a consequence of the fibroids. And this comes about because the womb makes a certain amount of secretions, and the amount increases with the size of the cavity of the womb. And with this expanding womb, you have a bigger cavity. More secretions, more nutrients for the bacteria which normally lives in the vagina, hence you have a secondary problem with vaginal discharge.
So the main point is that if something may happen and you happen to get a checkup, and
Yes.
you may have fibroids.
Yes.
There's no real way to really know, I have fibroids.
Well, you may have no symptoms, or you may have symptoms, which would drive you to the doctor. And on examination, these may be suspected. Of course, ultrasound examination usually will confirm these findings, although most of us will, with a great degree of accuracy, be able to diagnose your fibroids just on physical examination.
On that note, we take our first break on The Good Life. But stay tuned, our Need to Know segment is coming up.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Welcome to our Need to Know feature. This week's show is an examination of fibroids in women of color. Here are a few facts. Among the symptoms that may indicate that a woman has fibroids is anemia, which is a reduction in your blood cells. A lot of persons mistake uterine fibroids for ovarian cysts. Although they present some similar symptoms, unlike fibroids, cysts can contain fluid that can burst and release its contents into the body, that can cause blood poisoning and other illnesses. Also, cysts do not cause menstrual bleeding, but fibroids do.
How dangerous are fibroids? Are they dangerous?
Well, there are potential problems from fibroids. As I say, you may have no symptoms. If you're having problems with bleeding, you could become anemic. And anemia eventually could lead to problems as severe as heart failure.
Okay.
All right? You may have pelvic pains, chronic pelvic pains, which could affect your personality. It could affect your relationships, because now pelvic pains become a problem.
Okay.
All right? So you may have
That's
or
pelvic
lose
pain in
interest.
general, or that's pelvic pain in regards to sex?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Both.
Both?
Both.
Okay.
So it can lead to marital disharmony.
Okay.
It could affect you at work, because if you're always having pains or always bleeding, it will affect your work performance. It may lead to absenteeism. And even if your employers might be sympathetic with you initially, they will get tired of you if there's no intervention to deal with these problems.
Do fibroids affect other organs? I know you mentioned it can push up against the bladder or the rectum, but can it affect organs in an adverse way?
Well, you could get compression of the ureters. These are the tubes leading from the kidneys, leading the urine down to the bladder.
Compression in the sense of something pushing against them?
Obstructing the ureter.
Oh, okay.
And this could cause back pressure onto the kidneys, which could have implications if it's going on for years.
Right. Okay.
Fibroids sometimes may begin to invade or take blood from other neighboring organs, and these are called parasitic fibroids.
Okay.
Fibroids, of course, taking blood supply from the intestines, could lead to all sorts of bowel symptoms. So yes, it could affect other organs. Thankfully, this doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
But it's possible.
How can I, as a woman in my reproductive years, lessen the chance or the likelihood of, getting fibroids?
Unfortunately, you can't. It is very common. In fact, in some studies, they refer to 70 to 80% of all women having fibroids in some shape or form.
Right.
However, most fibroids have no symptoms. So not all persons will be affected by their fibroids. Fibroids may vary in size from size of a grain of sand to that of a full-term pregnancy. And between the size and their location, it will determine whether or not you're going to have problems from them or not.
They can or cannot be dangerous then? It depends on the size of...
Not necessarily size. In fact, location probably is a bigger factor, just like real estate, in terms of the problems you may have with fibroids.
What's the age bracket for people who may have fibroids?
As I mentioned earlier, fibroids grow during the reproductive years. That is, the years that you're having your period.
Okay.
Not very common in the 20s, although every now and then we do find patients in the 20s.
So
but it's more common. It's more common in the 30s and 40s.
Okay. So I'm 25. Should I be conscious of, maybe I might have fibroids? Or do I wait until 30 something and say, oh, doctor, I want to check if something is happening?
Well, you should be conscious that these things are possible. Certainly, if there are any symptoms suggestive of fibroids, you certainly should check them out.
Right.
But the point I would like to make is that once you are in the reproductive age group, and especially if you're sexually active, you should be having your annual check.
Right.
So if you have fibroids, even if they're not symptomatic, they should have been picked up.
Right. Right.
You're watching The Good Life with Dr. Milton Hardy. Please stay tuned for more information about uterine fibroids.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
My name is Dennis O'Brien, Chairman of Digicel. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Welcome back to The Good Life. This week we are exploring fibroids in women of color with Dr. Milton Hardy. We already discussed fibroids and their symptoms. We'll wrap things up with the various treatment options. But before that, let's find out the answer for this frequently asked question.
So doctor, based on your diagram, a fibroid is a growth, right? An
Yes,
abnormal growth. It's not normal.
Indeed.
And when you think of growths, you think of cancer. Is fibroids cancerous?
Well, growths may be benign, non-cancerous, or they may be cancerous or malignant.
Right.
Fibroids can undergo malignant change, that is, they can become cancerous. However, this happens so infrequently that the answer to your question is no.
Okay.
But it does happen, but it's extremely rare.
How are fibroids usually treated?
Well, sometimes you just watch. There's nothing to do depending on the symptoms the fibroids might be causing or their size. You may need to do intervention, and the nature of the intervention will be governed by the age and the reproductive desires of the patient. Certainly in our population, lots of women in their 30s have not yet had their children. So any treatments that you're offering would be in the direction of womb preservation. Hence, these patients, if they're symptomatic, and symptoms would include fertility issues, they could be offered the operation of myomectomy. Myomectomy being the operation where you remove the fibroids and repairing the uterus so the patient may have an opportunity to bear children in the future. A lady who has completed her family with symptomatic fibroids, you might offer her a hysterectomy if she so desires. Hysterectomy, one of the treatments for patients with symptomatic fibroids, is the removal of the entire uterus. These patients will no longer be able to see periods or have the ability to bear children. These may be accompanied by removal of the ovaries, which would also put the patient immediately into the menopause. Some people may watch a patient who is in her late 40s. Symptoms might not be so severe, so you try to see if what will come first, the menopause or a worsening of her symptoms, because sometimes you can't wait on the menopause if the symptoms are that severe. So essentially the interventions are mainly surgical. There are medical interventions. There are radiological interventions, because you can have what we call embolization of the artery, the uterine artery, where you tend to try to shut down the blood flow going to the uterus. This, of course, does have its...
To the entire uterus? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Has its implications in that it can only be offered, or should only be offered, to somebody who could have a hysterectomy if necessary.
Are there any dangers in regards to the surgical treatments for fibroids?
Yes. All surgical interventions, whether they're for fibroids or anything else, have their dangers. What is specific to fibroids is the control of bleeding at the operation of myomectomy. Now, remember, in doing a myomectomy, you're cutting into a live organ.
A myomectomy, before we continue, is?
The removal of fibroids.
The removal of fibroids.
While preserving the uterus, so that the lady may have the opportunity to have children in the future.
Right, okay.
So you're cutting into a live organ. And bleeding has always been a major problem with this procedure. Some years ago, a team of local gynecologists led by Professor Joseph Frederick. I'm a member of that team as well. We developed a technique using a drug called vasopressin, which constricts the blood supply, the blood vessels to the uterus, and allows us to cut into that uterus with very little bleeding. The effects of the drug last for about 45 minutes. And this gives you a good head start to get going with your operation. The easier the operation is, the greater the chances that you'll be successful. So this technique, of course, is being used worldwide. It minimizes or reduces the risk or the chances for you needing to transfuse these patients. Because one of the problems with the myomectomy operation was the risk of having to transfuse the patients, because it's a bloody operation.
Right.
So we have made significant strides, and thankfully, I'm happy to say that we have contributed from Jamaica into the development of the treatments of fibroids, certainly in the area of doing the operation of the myomectomy, which is very important because many ladies in the reproductive age group would have been forced to have had a hysterectomy rather than having a chance to have their womb preserved and go on to fulfill their reproductive ambitions.
So let's say I had my fibroids removed.
Yes.
Will they grow back?
They can.
They can?
Yes. Remember, fibroids grow during the reproductive years. A patient who makes fibroids has the potential to keep making fibroids. And if you have had fibroids which are symptomatic, which have triggered intervention in the past, if you're young enough, they shall return, or they might. There are some patients who may not get any regrowth of their fibroids, but some do. And some do get a regrowth of symptomatic fibroids where there needs to be further intervention, that is more surgery.
Do fibroids run in families? As in, if my mother had fibroids, does it mean that I may have?
The cause of fibroids are unknown. Fibroids are more common in the black population.
Right.
Then it stands to reason that if your mother had fibroids, your chances of having fibroids, symptomatic fibroids, are greater than someone who didn't. Okay. Certainly fibroids are detected and they are asymptomatic, then certainly you should be monitored. If they are symptomatic, then you need to have the relevant intervention which might be appropriate for your situation.
Thank you, Dr. Hardy, for your time. I've learned a lot about uterine fibroids, and I know a lot of women are going to be getting their annual checkups a lot more frequently, because I think sometimes we tend to leave that on the back burner. But thank you for your time today, and definitely you guys get your checkups, get your pap smear, and is it one checkup?
Pelvic examination.
So the pelvic exam and the pap smear is the same thing?
It's not at the same time.
It's not at the same time? Okay. So get your pelvic examinations and get your pap smears done. I've been your host of The Good Life, Amita Prasad Webb. Until next time, join us again.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange wishes to help to develop the social sector. To that end, they have formed the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is a safe, efficient, and transparent platform that aims to promote social projects that build Jamaica and will inure to the benefit of all persons living in the country.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is a company that encourages and mobilizes capital for the main market. And that is the market that is not the social sector. Now, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is really geared towards the social sector to help to solve social problems in the field of health, education, about children, environment. Those are some of the things that we consider social problems. And so it is to mobilize the capital, allow persons who have a desire to invest in a social good, to invest in the social stock exchange. It is designed in two parts. In phase 1, where we look at social investment, and phase 2, where we look at social impact investment. Now in phase 1, really what we are saying is, it is donation. An organization will have a social issue and design it into a project or a program and invite Jamaicans or persons within the diaspora or the entire world to fund this program. Now in phase 2, you're going to get a return on investment which is not social. You will be getting shares, natural shares, as you would get if you invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And what you'll get is a return on capital, which is possibly dividend or an appreciation in that share. The Jamaica Social Stock Exchange does more than ask for the funding of these programs, but goes beyond that in terms of monitoring, ensuring that these programs are meeting the targets and the reason for them to have asked for funding in the first place. When we look at this new sector, it is important because holistically, if you do not look on the social sector, you do not improve the other sectors. We want to encourage all businesses in Jamaica to have a corporate social responsibility because it is good for encouraging and the growth and development of businesses.
The Caribbean is a rich biodiversity hotspot. It has over 11,000 plant species, and about 72 of these are found only in this region. This richness also extends to the Caribbean people. Their traditional knowledge of the region's varied natural resources has integrated nature into the economic and health sectors worldwide. It has also drawn many to research and use the region's biodiversity for medicinal, cosmetic, and pharmaceutical purposes. For example, the glaucoma medication Canasol is made from cannabis. However, Caribbean islands have fallen prey to biopiracy, where a country's resources are accessed and developed commercially, but the country gets little or no benefit from it. As the world benefits from the Caribbean's biodiversity, countries need to be compensated for their commercial use. Lawmakers need to ensure that their countries are legally prepared to give access to and benefits from commercial use of genetic resources. To ensure prior informed consent and mutually agreed terms of access established by the Nagoya Protocol, the Global Environment Facility, GEF, United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, and the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, are jointly providing support to countries at different levels in order to advance towards functional access and benefit sharing. Under the Nagoya Protocol, countries from which natural resources are obtained for commercial developments are entitled to compensation. It also ensures indigenous knowledge from groups such as the Maroons, Rastafarians, and Amerindians can be credited and compensated if their traditional